of the John F. Kennedy Center, Mr. Roger L. Stevens.
The dear Episcopalian priest of 5 weeks today will make... Where's our dear captain? Come on, Captain. One more spontaneous remark. I got a couple of good ones, really. Oh, yes, this is very true. One evening in the White House, Lynda was going upstairs. Get this, students. She was going upstairs to do her correspondence course in Latin. Yes, indeed. Indeed she was. And she wanted some help, and I helped her up the stairs.
Because you didn't approve the subject. It was the Aeneid.
Yeah, Aeneid.
A lot of Dido and all that sexy part.
So it had Dido on that sexy part, that's why I wasn't helpful. That's not true. Let's see. One more spontaneous remark. Oh, yes, this is very important. This is to my dear, dear friend, Roger Stevens. This man was first introduced to us by our dearly, dearly loved President John Fitzgerald Kennedy in the East Room of the White House, and we were told that the National Council on the Arts would go on, the center would go up, and I've never known a man that has produced so magnificently in the whole field of the arts. Then this dear man is constantly trying to get millions and millions of dollars, and he tells us every now and then how tough it is. Let me tell you that his bankers, when it goes down to the bank, they spill more money than we need for this whole building. So he doesn't really have problems of any kind at all. But to each one of you, to my dearest little freshmen, to the many, many couples whom I had the joy of marrying, to the many ones who have gone into the religious life, you're all with us today, all I've had is the privilege, all that I've had, and it's just this, and my only position is, because I've never moved, I was assigned to this job 30 years ago. I was left as a foundling. They missed St. Anne's house and they dropped me at the doorstep here. But 30 years ago began the privilege of serving. And I've had the privilege of working for you, and everything that is accrued, and this is not one of those silly football things. Dick Coe usually makes me an All-American of Notre Dame, and I'm very grateful when you do this, Dick, by the way. But it isn't just my teammates, but it's all of you. And from the bottom of my heart to each and every one here for sharing this with us, God love you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's comforting, isn't it, when you watch Father Hartke give a speech to know that he's the one that instructed me in my profession? Talk about impossible dreams about a theater. Look what happened.
Father Hartke and the wonderful work he has done over
Captain Robb and the little Johnson girl, husband and wife. He's been giving her instructions how to be a good wife. I decided if I got out her, I'd teach her that the best thing a wife can know is how to work, so we put her to work. So one word of advice to every girl getting married, work. Somebody said, how'd you get the idea of her doing the digging? I said, don't you look at television? Don't you read the newspapers? Her mother never stops digging. But the most beautiful work that her dear mother has produced, matched only by another little one who's out in Texas at the moment.
She's here.
She's right here. Lynda and Lucy are the two most beautiful products of the woman who's beautifying America.
They used to say of Gabriel Heater, who was a newsman of great importance and note in the golden days of radio, because he had such an eye for telling a story with a flair, that he was the kind of a guy that could look at a brick and see a house. Father Hartke's a lot like that. And I must confess, so am I. And when I stand here today, I think back to a spring day in 1949, when a Catholic university of great note, in a reckless moment of abandon and disregard, gave me a Bachelor of Arts degree. If you can consider that a miracle, ladies and gentlemen, then I do see a theater down here. And I think the first song they'll be playing is The Impossible Dream. Good luck with it, Father.
Thank you.